Hello everyone and welcome to another episode. I think it's going to be a short one, which I'm going to call the CoCo2 Part 2. As this machine came back to life by replacing the ROM the other day. If you haven't seen the video, the link is going to be down below, and thanks to my friend Peter. Now I have to do other things on this CoCo, and the first one I should do is to upgrade the ROM, because it's something simple and rather useful. So we're going to be replacing the existing RAM chips. All the chips are socketed, and it's going to be an easy operation. And as you can see on the screen, we have 14K or something, 14.6 kilobytes of RAM available to the user. So it's a big deal. We're gonna make it up to 64K after all. The only critical thing for this operation is to short JP1 as indicated onto the motherboard in order for the system to detect 64K chips on the right side. Those are the old ones, the 4517s, which are going to be replaced soon with the 4164 ones. What is interesting about the old chips, the 4517s, is that they require 5 volts. It's nothing like the Spectrum with 12 volts and stuff. Although they are old, they use only 5 volts, which makes things easier. And all we need to do is to put this little wire on J1 and short the contacts, and then if we simply replace the chips with the new ones, the 4164s, I got them ready here, then the system can immediately detect and identify that the RAM size has changed, and it can boot with several kilobytes more available to the user. So let's get right to it. I'm going to swap the chips now, and hopefully when we boot up the machine again, it will show something more than 24K or something available for the user, because due to legacy designs, the basic memory is the same for 32K and 64K systems. So what we have here already, the new set of 4164s, new RAM chips installed, so we can conduct our first test, I guess, and then we can happily move to the second part of the video, which is another surprise from my friend Peter from 8-Bits in the Basement, which is the PCB and the materials to be used to build a cartridge with a game. Alright, before we can power up the system, the last glance, a quick recap. We have a solder point on J1 in order to detect and identify 64K present, and the chips themselves into the sockets in the place of the old ones. So let's power it up and see what happens. The TV modulator cannot really produce a clear image on the screen, so I pulled the cover, and I was trying to see if there's any rust, dust or something in there, but it looks clean, and so I'm going to put the cover back, and whatever picture we have now, I think this is not priority number one. So what I need to see now is how the computer reacts with the new chips installed, and in order to do that, I'm going to write the very same command looking for available memory for the user, and at this point gives us 31 kilobytes. Wow. Well, that makes me very, very happy, but it is also very weird, because what I've been expecting looks great as a number, but what I've been expecting to see was something around 24K. At least that's what I knew and what I've read, and yeah, it looks and feels it's great, but yeah, I can live with more RAM, but I need to investigate more, I guess. And for the time being, we can move to the second part of this video, which is how we can build a game cartridge for the CoCo. And this is the Blair PCB, which is called the EPROM CoCo EPROM pack, PCB for EPROMs for the TRS-80 computer. There is going to be a link by the end of this video down below in the comment section, so you can visit Mark's blog. Mark J. Blair is the brain behind the design of this little PCB. And of course, many thanks again to my friend Peter from 8-Bits in the Basement, who actually sent this to me. The board can support a diversity of EPROMs from 4K to 32K, and we can burn an image of whatever game or application we want to have on the EPROM, and this goes as a final project onto the expansion port of the CoCo on the right side, and instantly we can have whatever we want to have loaded. Of course, we need some materials, some extra materials, like the socket for the EPROM itself. We're also gonna using a 0.1 microfarad ceramic capacitor for just smoothing purposes, and that is all the BOM. Not much of a BOM, and a simple circuit to build. This is the little capacitor that goes over there. Then we have several pin headers. We need to create some jumper connections to select functionality. For example, we need two jumpers right down there for auto start, and 3 of those up over here on the left side, plus 3 more to select between the size of the existing EPROM and to select the right combination in order for the game to be recognized and detected. And here is my little collection of jumpers in this little matchbox. So I have to start with first things first. Let me solder the socket in place, then we can burn the image on the EPROM, then we can put the other components like the capacitor and the pin headers, then we can test it. The only type that I have now is the 256 type, and I should have ordered a couple of other types like 128 also, but yeah, I thought of that only later. So 256 will be 32K for now. We can start with this one and see how it goes. I do believe it's the best way not to solder again the IC onto the board directly, but rather to have always sockets. Especially for these cartridges, it's manageable, and the best way you can do it, because you can swap EPROMs later on and put other games or applications or whatever using the same PCB. So and from the technical point of view, again, it's always best to use sockets instead of soldering this directly onto the board. So I'll do just that. I'll fix the pins that we need, cut the pins that we need for the jumpers, solder the capacitor, and see how this goes. And I do believe that this is a great design, great design, even to the last detail. For example, the auto start jumper has different orientation than the others, and it's yeah, great job again. What is marked on the PCB also is the U1 and U2 chip and the position. If you are going to be using a 24 pin chip, you should select position U1, and if we are going to using 28-pin chip like we're going to do today, we have to install it on position marked as U2. A little bit of cellophane tape to keep it in place, and I'm ready to start soldering. And something we can find also on the instructions over the web page, is that if we decide to use 2732 24-pin 4K EPROM, then actually no jumper combination is needed. I kept some notes on the jumper settings. I'm going to put on this video in a little while. Okay, soldering is over for the socket and the little capacitor right over here. Try not to use a lot of solder, just little solder will do. Keep the contacts clean and always pay attention not to make any shorts. You can always clean, and I do suggest to clean the whole construction after everything is in place with some alcohol and a toothbrush. Of course, this is low complexity project, but just as a good habit and as a good practice. Now I broke the pin headers, 3 parts we need, 2 with 3 pins and 1 with 2 pins right here. The first one is auto start, enables auto start or not. It should be right there. And the rest is for the EPROM address and size selection. And the first one goes right here, come on, and the other one next to it. So I'm going to solder those in place also, clean and neat, and we should have the jumpers put accordingly to make combinations, and then we can burn the image. And I was thinking it's a pity to use 32K EPROM right here for a smaller game, so I would put a 32K game onto it, and I decided that I should put 32K well-known and classic game. And if you ask me, classic is something like Arkanoid or something like that. Either way, I don't have many games on my PC. Just I picked one of the bigger ones, and I picked one of the classic ones. So Arkanoid it is. I'm looking forward to testing this and start playing a bit. And here is our final product, the way it looks. Now everything is in place. The auto start jumper is red to make it distinct. The other 2 jumpers are not in the final position yet. I need to check my notes again. The A on the EPROM, of course, stands for Arkanoid. The image has been burned already, and I guess the final inspection now. Take a look around the soldering points and the PCB overall to check for particles or whatever. I think again it's so nicely designed, this PCB, and this project comes as simple as it gets for you to build, and you won't have any troubles. And of course it's not always about games and games. You can find several applications out there designed for the CoCo, and it was famous for educational software as well back then. Of course more on the other side of the Atlantic, but still several pieces of software are available, educational or applications that you can burn into this EPROM, and then you can have them loaded instantly. And at this point I think I should take a look at my notes. I'm going to bring them on screen for you to see how we can put the jumpers right. And I do not believe we need the jumper 3 at this point, since we don't have 64K EPROM installed. So I have copied and pasted some stuff on the notepad here from the website, things that I can have handy, and apparently I can see that we do need to set JP3 to 1, for the 256 EPROM. It makes sense. These are important settings in order to apply the correct power and control signals to the EPROM. Alright, so we're going to be using just 2 banks of 16K each, as this is 256 EPROM chip. The auto start, of course, is enabled, and the jumper 3 here is just like a spare. It's not connected anywhere, just hanging there. The JP2 is jumpered indeed. Remember, the basic ROM is always there. It's just that it doesn't execute if an EPROM pack like this is there present. In other words, the EPROM takes precedence. So let's move to the test. We'll plug it in and power up the machine, crossing fingers here for the test, and see how it looks and how it should react and start and load up immediately. Always the finest hour, testing. So let's see. Hey, something came up there, and I guess it came up just right. So the cartridge works after all. We are watching happily the introduction of the Arkanoid game and all-time classics, and this is the demo mode, and I think it looks nice and I'm very happy. So the cartridge works. I have many things to do around this CoCo. I guess one of the things I need to do is to make some better image out of this. But let's take a look on the right side, the expansion port. You can see how it fits so nicely, and it's thick the way it should be, to be firmly in there, the PCB. Nice design, perfectly made. All I need also is to make some kind of plastic case for it. I'm not sure, maybe somebody out there over the internet might have something like 3D printed or something. So back to the demo mode. I can admit I don't have a joystick. Remember, the joystick for the CoCo is the round type, not the classic D-sub 9-pin Atari style ones used. So I don't have a joystick at this point, and I do not think I can play with keys, the cursor keys or anything. All I can do is probably press some keys. But no, I guess I need a joystick. A joystick is needed for this game. Okay. So what I like about the junk that I'm collecting is that I can find in boxes stuff that I couldn't remember it was there. And so here is the round 5-DIN socket I've been telling you about, and this is not a CoCo joystick, but it's a Dragon joystick, and I couldn't even remember it was there. I started looking around for something so I can play with Arkanoid tonight, and I found this. It's really impressive, unbelievable, and I like this junk. If you know the Dragon computers made in Swansea back in the 80s, it was the compatible, almost compatible British computer for the TRS-80 Radio Shack. Little things were different. Like the Dragon used to have the Centronics parallel port, and the software made was running almost perfectly on both platforms, on both computers. So technically speaking, they were compatible, and the joystick itself is not rocket science. It should be it should have been compatible, and it is, and I'm pretty glad about it. So I guess we can call it a wrap for the day. That was a nice little project. These projects really make my day. Thanks again Peter, for this contribution again. Thank you very much. I know I have to work a bit more on the image quality and forget about the TV modulator in the future, maybe some future video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I can catch you soon with another video, if time permits, another restoration, another project demo or review from the past, retro stuff, as always. And yeah, consider subscribing if you will, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.